I'm Edwin Warfield, the publisher of Citybiz, and I'm honored today to interview Hans Strauch, who is the president of HDS Architecture. Welcome, Hans.
Thank you. Glad to be here with you, Edwin.
Could you delve into some of the most intriguing highlights of your career, such as your collaboration with the renowned modernist architect Benjamin Thompson at the Cambridge-based Architects Collaborative?
Sure, happy to do it. Well, some people don't know who Benjamin Thompson was. He was the one who sort of founded the festival marketplace concept, which is you have in Baltimore and they're in Boston, and known for that, but have done many, many other great buildings. I was a young architect when I joined him, and I was sort of expecting to be focused on form making, and very quickly found out that form was secondary to place and human scale. And what I loved about working with Ben Thompson was his love and attention to those very issues. So buildings weren't meant to be iconic on a site. They were to be connected to a site in some fashion, or in an urban environment, really be connected to human activity. So there was a lot of brain sort of power brought to all of this, and attention. And the other aspects I loved working was that we were very entrepreneurial. I did a project in Ireland, in Dublin, Ireland, called the Custom House Docks Development. And it was an incredible opportunity to work in a different culture. And I learned very interestingly how to work in another culture, work with other people who see things in different ways. And not only did we work in Europe, we worked around the country. So that kind of learning curve has helped me terrifically in growing my own company.
Well, my continuing the Milton theme, my senior year at Milton, I spent a month at the Rouse Company, so I'm very familiar with it. So yeah, I'm very familiar with the history of the Rouse Company and its impact, its continued impact, not in the world. So can you elaborate a little bit on the unique design philosophy that sets HDH architectures apart from the others in the field?
Right. HDS architecture. It's okay. It's another bunch of letters, but HDS architecture. Yeah, we actually pride ourselves in doing beautiful buildings, highly crafted buildings, and when called upon, we do iconic buildings. Not every project requires an iconic project, but we do love form making. But what we also love doing is what I told you a little bit earlier about connecting our buildings to their urban. It's an urban environment, it's a suburban environment, with nature, or with even elements within a city context. That's what I think makes us special. But I also want to call attention to the fact that we're very, very economic connected. We want to design buildings that can get built in today's very difficult economic environment. So we are very keen on understanding budgets. I know there's the old phrase on time, on budget, which is probably overused. We are concerned about value creation from the very beginning of a project, and we work very closely with our clients step by step with the hope and desire of making the project a success. So I think that to a certain extent, that partnering makes us a lot different from a lot of our, let's call it, competition.
And so the first building that you designed was Temple University Hospital in Philadelphia. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. That was my first job out of college. By the way, I went to Cornell, and every summer, when I attended Cornell for 5 years, every summer, every vacation, whether it was 1 week or 4 days or winter break, I worked. And I was very ambitious. I wanted to learn, and I worked. And so when when I graduated from Cornell, I started working for the Architects Collaborative in Cambridge. I had been working there in summers and winters for 2 years prior as a intern while at Cornell. And my first job there was they put me as the designer of a hospital. Now here I am, right out of college, designing what was to be a signature building for Temple University, and I, in this case, was pretty much the form maker, having to understand what the issues were regarding the requirements of functionality. There was a big team of hospital experts, but I was sort of the golden designer. And I have to say, I didn't know what I was getting into, but it turned out to be an amazing experience. That building, if you Google Temple University Hospital, up comes a picture on your screen of the building. It still is their signature building today. It looks dated because it was designed in 1980, but it has all sort of the modernist precast concrete aspects to it. And it seems to have worked out well. It still is working for them. And so it was a great experience for me, and led later in my career to connecting more again with healthcare work.
And can you share a snapshot of the company today and who are the key members of the team?
Sure. So we are, well, first of all, I'm a player manager. I still draw. Everyone else uses the computers. I use a computer too, but I also hand draw. And I have two associates, both who have been with the company for over 10 years. Michael Dennis, who's the younger one, is a star. Let's call him a star designer. He's terrific, and he, in many ways, leads the direction of our form making aspects. Whereas I might start a design concept, he will take it further, and we go back and forth. But he is very bright, very strong, and clients love him. That's the most important thing. Clients love him. Same thing with Jonas Driscoll. He has also been with me for 10 years, almost 10 years now. Terrific architect. Clients love him. He does a lot of our large multifamily projects, very quick on his feet. Both are very, very good communicators, which is, for me, extremely important. We have a rule in our office that if we get a call from any of our clients, we get back to them within sometimes 15 minutes to an hour. It's not, we hear so many times about how folks or other people not in our firm take so long to get back to the clients or even to the builder in the field. We are very proactive, and we have had many compliments as a result of that and repeat work.
And can you share the design philosophy of the firm?
So the design philosophy, well, when we get involved in a project, our first important aspects are, do we like the team we're going to be working with? So the philosophy is team is so important, partnering with our clients. Are we going to have an opportunity to really understand what their vision is in order for us as interpreters and designers take that vision further and obviously bring it into reality. So we are very, very focused on the relationships. And as far as taking it further, each of the steps we take with our clients, complete involvement. So philosophy is more around the relationship than we as architects are expected to come up with a product. And as I said earlier, we like highly crafted buildings. We take the materials that were available to us to work with on a project based on budget and aspiration to the highest level, so that they can become treasures, if you will, for our clients. but they also have to be economic performers. So if our projects we judge, are they working and if they're an entrepreneurial project, development project, are they making money for our clients? If they're making money, that's great. Well, of course, we also want them to look like beautiful buildings as well, and I think most of our clients want that as part of the package. So it's really a combination of things, but we want a winning team. So we know I love sports and I play competitive tennis. I'm a legend in my own mind when it comes to tennis. But I love team, and just really get off on this. And also, I want my clients to feel comfortable, and I want to be comfortable about receiving emails from them, say 24/7. Don't tell my wife, but it is. I like to have ultimate communication and comfort. It's a great team sport for me.
So one of your recent projects is the Cairo Tuscan Village in Salem, New Hampshire.
Yes, that's one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you share some key features from this residential?
So this is a 260-unit residential development we recently completed with the Dolben Companies. The Dolben Companies is a major player in multifamily development. They have work as far down south as, actually they're doing something in Florida, but a lot of it is in the Maryland area and then up here in the Northeast. So we were tasked with designing what was to be a 250-unit building in a sort of a growing development called Tuscan Village in Salem, New Hampshire. It's a redevelopment of the Rockingham racetrack mixed-use project. And so rather than just coming up with a concept that was totally foreign to the place, they were trying to create a feel there. We worked very closely with our client and the master developer of the whole Tuscan Village project to come up with sort of an aesthetic. But what's really cool about the building, it's a very big building. It has an interior courtyard, sort of like a square-shaped building with an interior courtyard with passages leading to the courtyard from the exterior. And all the units are very spacious. They all have decks or bay windows that expand the spaces to the outdoors. It's turned out to be a very successful project. It has all the amenities you can imagine with such a large project. But one thing I do want to say is, as I said, it was a 200. Our charge was to do 250 units. We figured out a way to do 260 units. So you can do the math, 10 extra units on a project like that. If you're in the investor, you're very happy about that, and it's renting out very well.
So how did your firm become involved with the design of the Neumos Palais in Berlin? So
that was a chapter a number of years ago. You may have noticed my name is German. When the Berlin Wall came down in '89, my family, through my father's side, had one of the first successful restitution claims of property in all of Eastern Europe. And that occurred in Berlin. And at the time, I was working internationally. This was back in the mid-late 90s. I decided I would fly into Berlin and see one of the developers who had expressed an interest in one of the properties. I was not involved in the actual restitution process. That was my uncle who was doing it at the time, who was an academic and who didn't think of asking his... Anyway, so I said, I'm flying in there to see what's going on. And the first work, it turned out the fellow's name was Hans. We got along very well. He was very interested in one of our properties, which was the Mossa Palais. It's called the Mossa Palais property, brand new building. We designed this building. It became the first building to be built in the DMZ between East and West an area where you could have seen it from what was called the Potsdamer Platz overlook. We put the American Jewish Committee into the building for 10 years free rent. The whole area is now built up all the way around, but it was a landmark building in its time, and it continues to be a landmark building because of the name Massa, which is for another day. We can talk about that. But it was a great experience. Again, going back, you asked me about my earliest times with Benjamin Thompson. The fact that I had had the experience of working in different cultures allowed me to successfully have our firm work in Germany, which was a different culture as well when it comes to communication and construction. We adapted very well, and as a result of that one building, we got hired for 4 more.
So in 2013, you endowed at Cornell the Strauch Visiting Critic in Sustainable Design. Tell us about the endowment and your commitment to environmental sustainability.
Sure. Well, as you know, as I had mentioned earlier, I'm a Cornell grad, and I've always stayed close to Cornell and very much appreciated my education there. For many years, I met with the various deans of the Architecture, Art, and Planning School, called AAP, to try to get interest in the importance of sustainability in design. And this also was some time ago. It's 2013, so it's over 10 years, but it was really probably 15 years ago that I started this process. And I knew the faculty there would look at it very suspiciously, because at the time green was like almost a little like, oh, put extra insulation on your roof, or insulate. It was very sort of simplistic. I was looking more for holistic understanding of sustainability. In fact, sustainability relates to human diversity and relates to social change. So in any case, I was starting with this part. I managed to convince one of the deans to get interested in it, and it morphed from being a yearly symposium to actually an endowed professorship, and that's what they have now. We went from 1 professor to 2. And now it's a treasured component of the education at Cornell. So it's interesting because just as how our whole social situation changes, so does how architecture is taught. And now it's totally ingrained there. I'm very proud of it, and very proud about how Cornell manages it and brings in incredible instructors.
So what is your vision for your career in the firm? What's next?
Well, it's interesting. Sometimes people ask me, so Hans, when are you going to retire? And I'm saying, what does that word mean? I have no idea. I'm not interested in retirement. I'm interested in continuing to move forward and continuing to do more and more. I am really excited about the associates I just mentioned earlier, who are part of the team here. I love what I do. I'm lucky in the sense that unlike sports, you time out after sometimes 35 years old if you're a basketball player, or even if you're a football player, maybe late 20s. I have no desire for retirement, and I have great visions for the future of our company, working on more and more sophisticated buildings. We're getting now involved in a high-rise building locally here, which we're very excited about. And just basically getting the opportunities to spread our good work and finding more and more partners who enjoy working with us, and we enjoy working with them and creating successful results.
So, like Frank Lloyd Wright, your Guggenheim is still ahead, right? Because as I remember, he did the Guggenheim. Really came at the end of his career. I guess was he in his 80s or 90s?
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that. The Guggenheim Museum is one of my favorite buildings on earth, and it all around the story that how it became and the intention.
But no, there was a documentary on the woman that played a critical role on. Yeah, that was a fascinating part of that story. I mean, yeah, I mean, I love that. It was one of those. Yeah, and by his 80s or 90s, he could, his other, diversions. I guess he was less distracted by the women in his life.
So one of the things I do believe he said is, so he was asked in a sort of lecture, what is your favorite project, Mr. Wright? And he said, my next one.
That's a great one. So we're going to end on that. We're going to continue the conversation after this interview. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I think it was karmatic or fate, inevitable, because my father went to Cornell and my mother went to Temple. So,
Oh my goodness.
so and, I don't know how many, in the sphere of marriages that came out of it. It didn't last ultimately, but I don't know how many Cornell Temple marriages there are, but
There are few, very few. Congratulations. Well, thank you. Thank you for the interview. It's been terrific. Thank you.